Sweetie, your poor hand. It doesn't have to be like this. You have this way about you. It triggers people. I don't know how to help you anymore. Why repeat the cycle when there's an easy way out?
What if your favorite single-player game could be infinitely replayable with story and even characters that feel alive and active? Well, that's the concept that BioShock creator Ken Levine has been prototyping for the past decade at Ghost Story Games, and it has manifested itself in Judas. I just got back from Boston, where Ken is based. I got to play 5 hours of the game along with some other folks, and I'm really, really excited to sort of talk a bit about it, because when we first revealed this game at the Game Awards in 2022, it was a great trailer, and everyone said, of course, oh, it looks like BioShock in space, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say I've really missed the BioShock franchise. The first game and Infinite are some of my favorite games of the past 2 decades, and all the things that you would expect in a BioShock game are there. There are hand powers, there's hacking, there's incredible cinematic moments, great characters, rich storyline, but there's something more going on behind the scenes. And this is something that is really hard to describe or showcase in a trailer. So I think Ken wanted a bunch of us to come in and sort of play the game to see how this idea of narrative sort of versatility comes to fruition in the game. Now, the game is not done by any means, and we only got to play sort of the first 4 or 5 hours of it, but it was really, really cool to see what Ken is doing in this game. Now, I don't want to spoil a lot about the plot of the game, and I will also say that Ryan McCaffrey and IGN did a great interview with Ken. I sat in for that, and the Friends Per Second podcast with Skill Up, Lucy James, and Jake Baldino also chatted with Ken. So there's a lot of more information coming out about kind of the game and the storyline, but I wanted to sort of describe what is so cool about this concept. And for that, table stakes is that you play Judas, this character on this floating space city called the Mayflower. And as you venture through this spaceship, there are sort of 3 characters that you're going to meet and vie for your affections in many ways. Tom, played by Troy Baker, he's the sheriff character.
Now, I heard Nefertiti and Hope trying to turn your head back there. They can't offer you what I can. Community, fellowship, a chance to lead.
Nefertiti.
Your mission has failed, Tom. The flesh was not meant to survive on Proxima.
Now, there's still room for you in the mission, Neffy, I swear.
Don't you ever call me that again.
And Hope.
I was so certain I was helping people fix their lives. Fucking moron. Everything I thought was true was just... Honestly, now the only thing I'm looking forward to is nothingness. And when you bring me there, when I see it swimming out to me, I'll let it take me. It's the only way out. Please do this for me, Judas. Help me end this thing.
And again, they all the characters have a relationship with Judas, your character. Again, don't want to spoil anything, but these characters effectively are sort of 3 factions on the ship, and they project themselves into your environment as you play through the game. And the concept here is that these characters, their narratives are all running sort of in real time at the same time as the game, and they are reacting to what you're doing as a player. So there's a non-linear mission structure to this game. There's also a roguelike element to the game. You've probably seen some of the footage of Judas reprinting herself. Again, I don't want to give too much away about that.
Your soul has had critical sectors removed. You may be experiencing severe loss of memory.
But the real cool concept here is that these 3 characters, their storylines are alive, and kind of like the Nemesis system in Shadow of Mordor, if you remember that from, 7 or 8 years ago, these characters remember and react to what you're doing as a player. So, for example, as you're playing through this game, you'll have different missions that each character will kind of take you on or ask you to go on. And sometimes if you decide to go on missions with one character, another character will react to that. And you kind of are, it's sort of trying to keep an equilibrium between a bunch of the characters, but then ultimately you'll probably go in one direction with one character. And they all have sort of different missions or moments. So I had a few moments playing this game where, for instance, Tom was upset that I was spending too much time with Nefertiti, and he would project himself into my environment, talk a little smack about her. He would try and bribe me with an offer of a weapon, but I'd have to go over and do a mission with him. You go do a mission with him, and then Nefertiti might show up in your level and say something, or even sabotage the health station that I really needed in that level.
Leave me with the whole
And these three characters are interacting with each other and with you in this really interesting sort of matchmaking between all these different sort of narrative variables that can happen in the game. Ken has done some amazing games in his career, and of course the first BioShock had branching narratives that the ending changed based on if you harvested the little sisters or not. But this is not just a straight sort of choose your own adventure game. The narrative is much more modular. And the idea is that I think if I play the game and someone else plays the game, we will each have a different experience. Or if even I play the game multiple times, as I was talking about at the beginning, the experience hopefully would feel fresh and unique, and not just sort of a linear or node-based sort of pathing through the plot. I will also say this is not like a generative AI thing where, the character dialogue is real-time generated. It's all handcrafted, and that's what's so cool about this game is it's got everything we love about a BioShock game, but as it plays out, every player, I think, will have a different experience. Of course, this really can only be judged when the game is finished, because we want to see sort of how much narrative variability there is at the end between, different playthroughs of it. But it's a really cool concept, and I'm a big fan of single-player games. I'm very excited by Ken and the team trying to push the medium forward. I would encourage you to check out those interviews with Ken to have him kind of explain and describe where they're at with the game. But I wanted to record this video, something I don't normally do, because I think this is a game that you have to hear about and ultimately experience to really understand what Ken and the team are doing. But it is definitely something I'm very highly anticipating, and it was fun for me to go into a game studio, to get to just play a game with some other people, which is something that we actually rarely get to do anymore post-COVID and with the way the world is right now. So anyways, Judas, I was honored that we got to reveal to the world a couple years ago at TGA, and it was really fun to play. So check out those interviews with Ken, and that's the Judas scoop from me.
Stop squirming, fucking traitor.
Hold her. I told Humpty from the start that you were a rat. But he was so good and trusting, and it was my job to protect him. But you cheated, didn't you? Going to Tom like that? You aren't just a rat, are you? No, you're the fucking devil! But I will honor his memory by making you pay for it. J stands for Judas, the fucking backstabber. Take her to the subway, Frockies, before the other assholes show up. What's the penalty for treason, boys?